Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. And a lot of times people will say, oh, you need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, talking to black people and how, oh, you're lazy, you just don't want to work, you just don't want to do this and that. Well, I want to share something with you, the age-old thing that has taken place since slavery was ended, where black people try to create businesses and come up with things, and they end up being ruined by white people that don't want them to succeed. They come in and they use laws to get rid of the buildings. They used to put highways through the black areas where the businesses were and houses and stuff. And I'm going to share a story out of North Carolina. It comes from The Guardian. Now, the title is North Carolina, I cried for a long time. Black hairstylist dream crushed by racist neighbor. Angel Pittman says her dream to create a mobile hair salon was thwarted when a neighbor harassed her with racist comments and vandalized her buses. And this is a 21-year-old stylist, nice black young lady. She purchased some land for $10,000 in North Carolina, which is a great price. Well, you would think. Didn't know that included a racist neighbor. And she purchased 3 school buses for $14,000. She had the money that she had saved since she was 17. I don't know, dang, what kind of job was she doing from 17 to 21? She had a bunch of money. I guess she probably was one of those kitchen beauticians. I've never seen anybody driving around doing people's hair, she said, but not only did I want to get paid for doing hair, I wanted to drive around, do a couple of homeless people's hair, and maybe go to some prisons and help incarcerated people. Her plan was to place the buses on the land, transform one into a living space, and turn the other into 2 mobile salons. But that goal was crushed before it even began because of where she chose to buy land, just outside Salisbury, a small city in Rowan County, North Carolina. And apparently this is some sort of sundown town. And we know those exist and have existed. And the population there, I think it's like 73% white people. Now, when she first visited the property and later during the closing of the land, she felt something was off in the predominantly white neighborhood, but forged ahead with her plans. During the closing, Pittman encountered an elderly white man who lived across her property, who she said had already given her weird vibes. About a week after closing, she returned with her mom to drop the buses off. This time the man approached them and said, "Why are you guys here? Are y'all looking for shade?" Now, actually this is Rowan County is 79% white and 17% black. It's considered a sundown town. Now, a sundown town is a Jim Crow era term used to reference overwhelmingly white neighborhoods known for racial segregation. And what that's really known for is sundown. By sundown, Negroes need to be inside. Other than that, you're seen as some kind of criminal, you're doing something wrong, and you may or may not make it out alive, and you may make it out unscathed. But that was the whole purpose of those green books, letting people know, black people know how to navigate throughout the United States and to avoid these certain sundown towns. So demographics of many sundown counties like Rowan have shifted slightly. Adrian Lent Smith, a history professor at Duke University, said, legacies remain and memories are long. Few towns still post signs that warn black folks. So apparently her bus had been vandalized. The B word was spray painted onto the front of one of the buses. One was so badly damaged that she can't even operate it at this time. She's trying to raise money to get it fixed so she can move it. So when she returned with her parents a week after dropping the buses off, the neighbor's behavior became more violent. Oh, maybe that's because she arrived with her parents, which included that black man. He sat over there and had his gun out the whole time. He was like, "Get the F off my lawn," and that we need to get them effing buses off his lawn. So basically saying her land was his. Now, ain't that something? Now, this young lady has used her money that she made to buy this land, and here he is with the audacity, the caucasity, to sit up and tell her get off his land. It's like he's still looking at us like we're some sort of property. And this is somebody's probably grandfather. Boy, I tell you, So then she noticed the buses had been vandalized. The glass windows were broken. racial slurs were etched. The man prominently displayed Confederate flags, swastikas, and KKK signs all over his yard, which Pittman said they weren't there when she previously visited. Seeing the vandalism and afraid her land and buses could have been wired with bombs or bear traps, she called the police. Now, what do y'all think the police did when they got there? You think they picked him up for a hate crime or did anything to him? Let's read on and see. I'm not sure. When the Rowan County Sheriff's Office deputies arrived, Pittman and her parents reported what they saw as a hate crime. But the deputies at the scene immediately brushed it off, telling her, "Oh yeah, they do that all the time." The police talked to us for a little bit, but they didn't do anything. They just wrote a report and that was it. So you would think they would have gone over and spoken to the gentleman. They already complained the man had a gun. He yelled at them, get off his property. Her bus is vandalized. Y'all don't even want to go talk to him to see if he saw anything. No, that would be like doing police work. In an interview with The Guardian, one of the sheriff's captains, Mark McDaniel, said the officers who went to the scene knew the elderly man and did observe the damage, the broken windows, and the stuff that was spray painted on. When asked about recourse for the attack, McDaniel said the incident happened before he started at the office. However, he said according to the report filed by the deputies, there is no indication it was a targeted attack because the neighbor always had white supremacy signs displayed. I mean, really? They just are so blatant with it. They are so blatant and nonchalant, unconcerned, and letting you know they don't give a damn. This girl probably would have been, it's no telling what could have happened to her if she actually tried to fix this stuff up and stayed in one of them buses. Oh my goodness. That man might have risked his own life by going over there to kill her, that old man, and he would have been all right going to prison for the last few days. If he even went. These good old boys would probably figure out a way to keep him out of jail. So it's no way any parent would allow their 21-year-old to go ahead and make that kind of decision to stay there. Okay, back to what McDaniel said. It wasn't like he put it there overnight. From the information available in the report from that day, it's nothing like that. So those items were not just put there after the buses were put there. Pittman disagrees with McDaniel's claim, saying the elderly man's harassment and racist behavior were explicit and directed toward her. She maintains that the sheriff's office didn't do anything to follow up or make her feel welcome on her own property. When pressed about the explicit racist comments, alleged racial hate crimes which have been rising in the state, and the destruction of property which led Pittman to flee the county due to safety concerns, McDaniel said Pittman never called back to file another complaint. Oh, it's her fault. She didn't call back. File another complaint? Didn't she file it the first time? With no eyewitnesses or video of the vandalism in progress, the sheriff's office closed the case. Didn't even talk to the man. Didn't even talk to see if he saw something. No, we'll just close it. She should have called back. Even if the sheriff were willing to follow up, Melon Sharon, the history professor, said, make an arrest, do something. If you don't have the law to back you up on the books that enables you to do that and to hold people accountable, then you can't do anything. North Carolina does have 2 hate crime statutes that include race. So here goes even the history professor trying to follow up and say, oh, well, there's no laws. Yeah, there are. There are hate crime laws. And the history professor was being disingenuous because she's saying, you know, if you make an arrest or do something, if you don't have the law to back you up, at least they could have went over there and talked to the man and let him know of the things that she has already said, pulling out that gun, sitting out there yelling at her to get off her land. Let him know that you can't do that or you shouldn't do that, sir. You can end up going to jail for certain things. They didn't do any of that. Let me continue with this article. At the insistence of her family and fearful for her life, Pittman has now moved back home to Charlotte. She said she would have stayed on her land, which is still hers to this day, if she felt safe. But instead, she's accepted the financial loss and is now trying to rebuild from scratch. To have all of that ripped from under me was really hurtful. She said, "I cried for a long time. For somebody to be hateful because of my skin color makes it even worse. It's really heartbreaking." Pittman is now raising funds to help recoup her losses and to buy unrestricted land in Charlotte. So far, she's managed to tow 2 of the 3 buses to Charlotte, where the storage fees are racking up. The other bus, still in Salisbury, was so severely vandalized that it no longer runs. Pittman plans to find a way to fix it and bring it to Charlotte. Her family, she said, has been her anchor through this, especially her dad, who won't let her go back to her Salisbury property for fear for her life. And he's right to do that, because her life is definitely in jeopardy. These cops have already shown whose side they're on. That old ass man knows whose side the cops are on. So he could get away with pretty much anything. It's just a blessing that he didn't harm her when she first went out there by herself. That really does suck, man, to have that. I hope she could put the land up for sale and let some of these kindly white folks buy it. Maybe some of his kin could go ahead and get it or something, but she never needs to go there until that man is, well, I wouldn't even go after his death, because that whole town, you know, they're used to things the way they've always been. And that's one of those kindly white towns that you probably want to stay away from. Y'all get in the comments. Let me know how you feel about it. Are you surprised in 2023 that there are still sundown towns and people like this? Or is this well known and we already know and other people act like there's no racism? Let me know, but make sure you hit that like button before you go and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Until next time, peace.